the great thing about this, it gave us an opportunity to have one more visit with one of our favorites over the past couple of weeks, and that is to visit with Longhorns grad student, first baseman. Let the record show that this season, Joley Mitchell batted .375 with 17 home runs, 63 runs batted in, drew 35 walks, got hit by a pitch 3 times, and had a fielding percentage of .992 as she joins us, and also stole 4 bases in 5 attempts. And she joins us now as a national champion, a little bit different than when we visited with her a week ago, a little over a week ago. Joley, I appreciate the time. Is it kind of just trite for me to say that everybody's still soaking it all in and enjoying this and letting all of this settle? Because one thing I heard all of the players say is that it hadn't sunk in yet. And of course it wouldn't right in the immediacy of the moment, other than the jubilation. Now, has it all sunk in for you?
I would say yes. I mean, this is something that we work for, and so when you finally get to bring it back to Austin and had a great showing of all of our fans here after we got back, that was pretty awesome. So now when I'm just kind of hanging out, driving in the car, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like we're national champions. So I would say yes, that it's kind of settled in a little bit.
Okay, well, that's good. Now, everything I know folks describe, the way the whole national championship series ultimately evolved was kind of bordering on the unreal, and I'll get back to that in a moment. I want to go back to a lot of folks, that the eyebrows were raised when after you guys got the win over Tennessee, and then after Texas Tech had beat Oklahoma, and there was like when somebody asked you, would you rather played Oklahoma or Texas Tech? And I salute you, because, a lot of folks are going to go ahead and take the diplomatic path and say, it doesn't matter, we're just glad to be in the championship. And you said, no, I'd rather it been against Oklahoma. To be the man, you got to beat the man, the old Hulk Hogan thing, I guess. That's a Ric Flair line. Did your teammates kind of share that feeling, or was it just, hey, look, we're in the final, we're ready to go no matter who it's going to be?
I think that everybody was just waiting to see who it was going to be. I mean, I just said I wanted it to be OU because I think that that's a cool way to go out, and especially, we just beat them, and I think that we had a little bit of momentum. Then again, I think the same thing happened last year when Florida forced them to the double elimination game and the if game last year. I even said, no, I still want to play OU. And so I kind of take the route of like, I want to make it really difficult on myself. But then again, I trust my team, and I trust that regardless, we would have done great against either team. But yeah, it just got to a point where we had to focus on what was in front of us. But I don't think that it should go unnoticed that, it doesn't matter who it is. We were going to give up a fight. And but again, had to recognize that we had a challenge right in front of us with Tech and Nijaree Canady.
Yeah, okay, so you just made me laugh when you talked about picking the more difficult route, because when we had the last time visit, we talked about your path and everything you went through and the physical challenges and everything else. So just playing Oklahoma compared to everything else you've been through, probably you felt you and your teammates were going to be able to handle that based on everything you personally had been through, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we've faced them plenty of times, and they're a great team and a great program and always will be. But again, it's like, hey, we had some momentum going into this after we beat them last week. So, I was ready for it, but just didn't work out that way, and that's okay.
All right. I've got to ask you this question because rooted in history, like I like to do sometimes, you kind of had a unique place in history the other night, whether anybody brought this up to you or not. First of all, I want to make sure I'm right about this. When Reese Atwood's at the plate, and on the 3-0 pitch, he gets the base hit. You're in the on-deck circle, correct? You're
Yes.
the on-deck batter. Okay, all right. I just want to make sure I didn't go off the tracks on that. Because this is what goes through my mind, and stuff like this. Someone who follows the history of the game and the history of all professional sports and things like that. And I don't know if anybody said this to you, but in 1951, there's this famous baseball playoff game between the Giants and Dodgers. Both were in New York at the time. The Giants were playing in the upper part of Manhattan, and the Dodgers were in Brooklyn. And they played at the Polo Grounds. And the Dodgers are on the verge of winning this final game of a best-of-3 series to decide the National League pennant. And Bobby Thompson hits this game-winning walk-off home run in the days before the term walk-off was even invented. He hits this walk-off home run. Giants win, there's this famous announcement, Russ Hodges crying out over and over again, the Giants win the pennant, the Giants win the pennant. He does it all over. The point of all this is that he hits this walk-off home run. Waiting in the on-deck circle was Willie Mays, who was a rookie that year, and of course went on and had this unbelievably incredible career. So here you were in the on-deck circle, and the reason I bring this up, or you're the on-deck batter, is Reese is at the plate. When did it occur to you that what was going to happen might unfold, that she was looking for a pitch to hit? And beyond that, what was going through your mind if, when it looked like that Canady was going to intentionally walk her, and that you would then walk to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs?
I think several times this year, it's kind of been the scenario to where even before I walk out of the dugout, I'm like, oh, this is going to be an intentional walk situation. I'm going to have to be the person to do it. So honestly, before I even stepped out on the field, I knew that they were going to at least attempt to intentionally walk her, which is fine. I mean, that's no big deal. And I still have to go out there and do what I'm supposed to do. But I think it was pitch 2, I believe, for the second ball. And it was actually, we said it was fat. That's what we were calling it. It was fat. And Coach Singh is in the cage over here in the dugout, and he told Reese, swing it. So I think Reese was just kind of like, I could even see a change in her body language where she's like, okay, I'm going to take this next one. And then after that, I'm just going to hammer it if it's there. And she did. I honestly was fully not paying attention because it was fixing to be the 4th ball. And I'm walking and I look down a little bit, and then I hear the crack of the bat, and I'm like, what? And I look up and the ball's going past the shortstop. And so it was like, oh my God, we're going to score 2 runs. And so that's what we needed. So I went to the plate and was just going to tell Mia if she needed to slide or not. But yeah, I think just the whole scenario, I was fully prepared to go up there. And I was going to be the one to hit the ball. So I was fully prepared to go up there and do it. And I was pretty hot then. So I was trusting myself. But when Reese did that, I think it was just a huge confidence boost for everybody. And even after the fact, the whole night, it was just totally insane. Twitter was blowing up, so we were laughing about that on the bus, and TikTok was going off. So it was just a really cool moment to see us take a big risk like that and see it work out for us. And that's what led us to the championship at the end of the week.
Okay, all right. So I want to make sure I got this right, because I haven't heard anybody else tell it to this point that that Coach Singh was saying, go ahead and do it again. And the plan was to swing on 3-0, not 2-0, when that second pitch was fat, was to let her go ahead and try to get another one over there. And I think all the replay showed the third pitch for ball 3 might have been a little further out anyway than that 4th pitch. So it was perfect timing. Everything worked out obviously perfect. But for the purposes of accuracy, so that was the plan, which you heard Coach Singh talking about, was get ready to hit, and then in everybody's mind, it was going to be on the 4th pitch.
I think it just kind of worked out that way. I mean, he was just telling her to swing. And so when he said that, I was like, oh, I didn't know if Reese was going to do it or not. And so, yeah, the 3-0 pitch was a little bit, or the going to be 3-0 pitch was a little bit further out, but what was supposed to be ball 4 was actually right there. And so I think Reese was just like see ball, hit ball. And I mean, it just happened to work out. And I think it just kind of caught the defense off guard. Just in general, you kind of watch the replay back and they're not really like in their position ready to go. And shortstop was kind of cheating. So it's just, I think it just happened. It just was so perfect. But he was telling her like, hey, if it's close, you need to go ahead and swing. And then we trust Reese, and I know Reese trusts herself. So for her, that to be her first hit of the week, I think it was probably the most legendary one of the week.
Yeah, no question about that. Now you'll have to refresh my memory on this. In some other situations, on other occasions, when that situation was coming up, whether the bases would have been loaded or not, when someone was in the process of intentionally walking Reese, did you have some good at bats in some of those situations that you had come up and make them pay for that decision that they made?
A few. I could have done better, but a few. I think the big thing is when something like that's going to happen, I have to take it as they don't trust that I can do the job, that I am not able to, score a couple of runs here to tie the game up or, jump ahead. But I think it's just a matter of if I believe in myself. I mean, I have to tell myself several times that it's no different. The game's no different. The game doesn't know. So I had to get up there. I have to make contact. She has to throw it across the plate. And just because there's a few runners on base doesn't make the situation more intense. It might externally, but internally and out there on the field, it's the same thing. So, yeah, I was successful a couple times. Wish I could have done better most times, but it just got to go up there and do my job.
Yeah, and you were going to be ready regardless. I mean, if the intentional walk had been properly executed on there, you were going in, standing in there, knowing what you needed a good pitch to drive the ball and get runs home.
Absolutely. I mean, there were 2 outs, so I mean, it was going to come down to it where I had to get the ball through the infield, and so yeah, just make square contact, hit it hard, and good things are going to happen.
Now, I did point out that you drew 35 walks as your second only to Reese, who had 41. So obviously you have a good eye at the plate. And even though you're going up there to hit, a walk would have tied the score had somebody walked, or as they did 3 other times, hit you with a pitch. By the way, those 3 times that you were hit by a pitch this year, did any of those like really give a good sting? Did they hit you in like, say, whatever, a shin bone or a place where it might hurt a little more than, say, some other part?
Yeah. Okay. Funny thing is, those were my only 3 career hit by pitches. So
Wow.
first time I was hit by pitch was this year. It was middle of April. We played Texas State at home, and I kind of got hit right here in the forearm on my throwing arm. And we played Tennessee that weekend, and then Carlin Pickens, throws gas, hits me in the same exact spot, and so that was pretty tough. And I'm still kind of recovering from it. I have like a little knot there. So, but yeah, getting juiced at 75 in the same place, of course you're going to have something there. And so, I mean, yeah, but I never really experienced it, but it's kind of like, okay, we get a free base runner, and I got hit in intense moments. So it's like, hey, if we need a base runner, just take it. And so, yeah, a couple of times it just happened, but I was, kind of going through the scenario too, where if I do get hit by a pitch, then yeah, that's going to score a run for our team. But I don't want to be super passive. I mean, I quite am passive just because I had 35 walks, but I like to take my time, and I like getting deep in counts. It kind of just challenges me personally. So if I can get to a 3-2 count, I'd rather do that than just kind of maybe hit the first pitch. And that's what I did last week too. I was just jumping ahead and not seeing as many pitches, but yeah, I get a lot of walks because I trust myself in a deep count.
Visiting with Joley Mitchell here on 13 Under the Zone for a couple more minutes. All right, let me move it forward to after Tech wins game 2. And you guys had a really spirited effort in the final at bat to pull within 4-3 and had the tying run at third. And I thought I heard a couple of plays. Maybe it was you, maybe it was Reese, maybe it was Katie Simmons, somebody in the press conference saying we had good momentum at the end of it. So the conversation was what amongst the players about, let's take this into the top of the first or the bottom of the first of the final game. Is that how all of that unfolded for you because of how the final at bat for you, even in a loss, produced some positivity?
Absolutely. We always talk about that too. I mean, we jumped into the SEC this year. We were saying, hey, conference is going to be tough, and there's going to be days where you might lose the first game, second game, or whatever, but how can you take momentum into the next day? And so clearly we had the momentum. I mean, yeah, Nijaree got the last strikeout, but Nijaree strikes everybody out. So, I mean, that's nothing new for her, and we were going to have to go out there, and we knew we were going to see her again. So our biggest thing was that we just had to stick to our plan. And I think it's great when we have people going up there, they're finally chipping away, and it was in a big moment. It didn't go our way in the second game, but we walked into the meeting room afterwards as a team, and we said, we have the momentum going into tomorrow. So let's not wait until the 7th inning to do it. Let's do it the first inning. And so I think that we all bought into that. I mean, that was huge. That was huge for us. I mean, jump out the first inning and put up 5. I mean, the game was pretty much going to be over at that point. We still had to fight throughout the game, but in a tough situation like that, in a tough series, Texas always comes out in the third game. So we were super confident in each other. And even that morning, we gathered together, we huddled up, and we were giving each other hugs, and we were saying, we're going to go win a national championship today. Let's jump out in the first inning and let's just put them away. Let's leave no doubt.
When you guys stepped to the plate there in that first inning, and you were getting good hits, obviously off Nijaree, and Leanna hits the 3-run homer, and all of these other things. How much of it was maybe you guys could sense a little bit of fatigue from her, even in the first inning, and how much of it was, and I think this was the vast majority of it, but you correct me if I'm wrong, you'd seen enough pitches from her during the course of the season and were a lot more comfortable based on what you'd seen on the first 2 games?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw a little bit of a speed difference, and some of her movement wasn't as movement as it was the first day.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I mean, I give a lot of credit to her. I mean, she pretty much has to pitch every single inning of the postseason, and I can't imagine, like, I can barely play defense and hit the ball without being sore every single day. So I can't imagine what she goes through. So I give her a lot of credit for that. And, I mean, she's a huge part of that team. And so I think that she was giving it her all anyway. But I just think that, it gets to a point, even most of the girls that were on our team last year, we saw her when she played for Stanford, and we saw them twice in the World Series last year. We saw her once here, and then we saw her again at the beginning of this year. And it was even a tough game, but it's the first time we had seen her in a while, and then we didn't see her until now. So I think it was just a culmination of, we were watching film from last year. We were watching film from the first game we played them this year, and then watching film from the series itself. So we knew what we were going to get. We knew what we were successful at, and we knew what was working for her. So I also think that we just trust ourselves when hitting the ball. So if she throws it up there, we're going to put up a good fight regardless. But I do think that, Nijaree, she gets the credit that she deserves. But, you see somebody over and over again, you're getting to the 9th, 10th at bat, you're going to be successful.
Sure. You are positioned when you're playing just a few feet away from Teagan Kavan. Did you sense from Teagan, even though she's a pretty affable person and look, it's seemingly, comes across as kind of laid back and enjoying all, did you sense a little more fire in her? Not because of all the flowers that Nijaree was getting, and like you said, deservedly so, just that she felt the competitor in her as she was going into the circle every time throughout the course of the tournament, when she didn't allow a single earned run in 31 and a third. So, I mean, did you get that kind of vibe from her as she was going back into the circle, especially for the final game?
Absolutely. I mean, Teagan's just a competitor in general. She's one of those quieter ones, and sometimes you have to get it out of her a little bit. But I think going into the Champ Series, I think that people were pressing as far as, oh, it's Nijaree versus Teagan Kavan, but Nijaree this and that. So I think that it might have lit a little fire in her, but Teagan is focused on Teagan. So Teagan's going to go out there and do what she needs to do. And I think she did that all of the postseason, where she's saying, I need to make one pitch. So she's focused on each pitch. She's not focused on what people are saying about her outside of that. I think that she understands that the best thing for her is her and us. And I think that we all bought into the infield talking to her, and Leanne and Mia, they're kind of quiet sometimes, but we all came in and we were just encouraging her the best that we could. And she's encouraging us back. So I think that she had a little motivation, maybe a little bit from all the Nijaree talk, but then again, she's one of those humble people. She recognizes that Nijaree is a fierce competitor as well, but that doesn't change anything that she's going to do about her game. So I think Teagan was just focused on Teagan and doing what she could for her team.
All right. Now, before we let you go, when we visited with you last, I was asking you about the down the road plan for you. And you talked about how being in the professional in the medical field was going to be ultimately the destination. If you were to have the opportunity to play professional for a while or try to balance all that out, would that be something you would consider, or are you just diving headlong into the next realm of your life professionally?
I think I'll be a part of the game, just not as a player. I want to be a coach, a mentor, just encourage girls to chase their dreams. I mean, I'm a small town kid from Rosebud, Arkansas, and I got to do all the things that I dreamed of. I got to go to Notre Dame. I got to come to UT, and I got to win a national championship. So as far as a player, I would say no. But as a professional in the sport, I would love to be somebody that others look up to and encourage them to do what they can do. But yeah, as far as the JOB part of it, yeah, I'm jumping all into the nursing school and jumping into the medical field. So I'm really excited about it. And I'm glad that I'm going to have a good life balance of staying in softball and also being a professional in the medical field.
Here's the other reason why I'm asking this, Joley. If we were to offer to stick you in the broadcast booth with Andrew Haynes, in given opportunities next year or something like that, is that something you'd be interested in?
Absolutely. I think that even like the last month or two, just like media stuff, I'm like, wait, I kind of like this. So yeah, I mean, if I can do something and be a part of it and talk about it, I'm going to talk. So I would love to. That'd be really awesome.
Hey, the media loves talkers. It's just the way we roll. Hey, I appreciate the time that we've had to visit with you. We congratulate you again on everything that's happened, including the national championship. And we look forward to visiting with you again down the road, and wish you all the best in the next chapter. But I appreciate the time, Joley. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Hook 'em.
All right, hook 'em. That is Joley Mitchell, Longhorns grad student, first baseman.